Imagine a world where everything you've been taught about human history is fundamentally mathematically wrong. For over a century, the hallowed halls of Oxford, Harvard, and the Sorbonne have maintained a strict chronological boundary. Civilization began in the Fertile Crescent of Mesopotamia, around 3500 BCE. They taught us that humanity's transition from nomadic tribes to organized city dwellers was a slow, agonizing crawl. But 120 feet beneath the crushing pressures of the Arabian Sea, off the rugged coast of Gujarat, lies a discovery that doesn't just challenge that timeline, it shatters it. This is Dwarka. For 2 millennia, the golden city of the deity Krishna was dismissed by Western academia as a pious fiction, a beautiful myth designed to anchor a religion. But in the 21st century, the myths began to bleed into reality. As we move through 2026, the mystery has evolved from a spiritual quest into a high-stakes forensic investigation. We aren't just looking at broken pottery or scattered stones. We are looking at a submerged megacity twice the size of modern Manhattan. We are looking at an urban grid that predates the pyramids of Giza by 4,000 years. If the evidence held in the vaults of the Archaeological Survey of India is fully validated, the cradle of civilization wasn't in the Middle East, it was here, in the sunken kingdom of the East. When we speak of ancient cities, we usually picture mud bricks and primitive tools. Dwarka is different. Forensic divers from the ASI have documented something far more disturbing to traditional historians: machine-like precision in a pre-Bronze Age world. The ruins of Dwarka reveal a mastery of lithic engineering that defies logic. We see massive sandstone blocks, some weighing upwards of 5 tons, featuring complex L-shaped interlocking joints. In modern construction, we call this modular design. These blocks weren't just stacked, they were engineered to lock together, creating a monolithic structure capable of withstanding the relentless tectonic shifts of the Indian shelf. But it's the smaller details that haunt the researchers. Recovered iron and copper fragments from the Gulf of Kambat show signs of high-heat smelting, a metallurgical fingerprint that shouldn't exist in 7500 BCE. We are finding evidence of a machine age before the wheel was supposed to be invented. The Sanskrit texts describe Dwarka as being built by the divine architect, Vishwakarma. Looking at the geometric symmetry of the submerged foundations, one has to wonder, were these gods simply an advanced civilization utilizing a level of technology that we have only recently rediscovered? Dwarka wasn't just a fortress, it was a global maritime superpower. The Mahabharata describes the city as Dvaravati, the gateway, and the archaeology backs this up. Divers have identified over 30 massive stone anchors, triangular, grapnel, and ringstone styles, strewn across the seabed like a graveyard of giants. These anchors are identical to those found in ancient Phoenician and Roman sites, but they are thousands of years older. This suggests that Dwarka was the central nervous system of a global trade network that connected the east to the west, long before the Silk Road was a thought. This was a smart city of antiquity, laid out on a perfect chessboard grid. Side-scan sonar has revealed parallel streets, rectangular public buildings, and what appears to be a massive central granary. This level of symmetric urbanism requires a centralized government, a complex economy, and a deep understanding of geometry. For a Western audience, think of it as a Bronze Age Manhattan, a bustling cosmopolitan hub where gems, spices, and metals were traded across the oceans while the rest of the world was still living in caves. One of the most mind-bending aspects of Dwarka is its hydraulic engineering. The ancient texts claim the city was reclaimed from the sea. In 2026, we see the physical proof of this impossible feat. ASI underwater surveys have mapped a series of elaborate water gates and defensive bastions designed to manage the tides of the Arabian Sea. These weren't just walls, they were functional sluice gates and drainage systems. The city featured a smart sewage network, a level of hygiene and civil engineering that wouldn't be seen again until the rise of the Roman Empire. The Sunken Gates, standing 4 meters high, show evidence of being part of a larger seawall complex. This suggests the ancients understood the physics of marine transgression. They knew the sea was rising, and they built a technological fortress to hold it back. Using LiDAR and sub-bottom profiling, 2026 researchers are now seeing how these gates were aligned with the Gomati River mouth to create a perfect, artificial harbor. It is the world's first recorded instance of land reclamation, the Dubai of the ancient world. If Dwarka was so advanced, how did it end up at the bottom of the ocean? The scriptures say the sea chased the residents as they fled. To a modern geologist, this isn't a metaphor. It's a description of a paleo-tsunami. The Saurashtra coast sits near the Owen fracture zone, a volatile tectonic boundary. Geological cores taken from the seabed show a cataclysmic signature, layers of high-energy marine sand and crushed shells sandwiched between stable mud deposits. This proves that Dwarka didn't sink slowly, it was taken in a single violent afternoon. Whether it was a massive submarine earthquake or a sudden glacial melt at the end of the last ice age, the result was a marine transgression, so rapid that the city's inhabitants had no time to save their treasures. They left behind a time capsule in stone, preserved by the very water that destroyed them. For the Western viewer, this is the scientific reality of the Great Flood myth found in almost every ancient culture, a warning that the ocean always, eventually, takes back what was stolen. For decades, the depths of Dwarka were the exclusive domain of elite military divers. But in 2026, the Indian government has turned the Sunken Kingdom into a global scientific frontier. This is the era of the Deep Ocean Mission. While the world watches India's Gaganyaan mission to the stars, a parallel mission is headed down. The Matsya 6000, a manned submersible designed for extreme depths, is now being utilized to map the northern sector of Dwarka. This is where 2026 technology meets 9,000-year-old mystery. At the same time, the Gujarat government has launched a landmark tourism project, a 35-ton passenger submarine. For the first time in history, ordinary citizens can sit behind 24 reinforced viewports and watch as powerful LED spotlights illuminate the Sunken Gates. We are seeing a submerged heritage revolution. This isn't just about tourism, it's about identity recovery. By opening Dwarka to the world, India is providing physical, touchable proof that our history is far deeper and far more advanced than the West has ever been willing to admit. As we conclude our investigation into Dwarka, we are left with a haunting realization. Dwarka is no longer unsolved. It is a confirmed chapter of human history that simply hasn't been fully read yet. The Golden City stands as a mirror to our modern world, a testament to human genius, engineering brilliance, and the fragile nature of our existence. When we look at the machine-cut stones and the hydraulic gates of 7500 BCE, we aren't looking at primitive man. We are looking at our equals. Dwarka challenges the North American and European audience to reconsider the exceptionalism of the West. It forces us to acknowledge that while Europe was covered in thick forests and the Americas were nomadic, a Silicon Valley of the ancient world was thriving on the coast of India. The tide is going out on the old version of history. As the 2026 submersibles bring back more data, the myth of Dwarka is evaporating, replaced by the hard, cold reality of stone and iron. The Golden City has risen from the depths of the ocean and into the light of science. It is no longer a legend. It is our past, and perhaps a blueprint for our future.